Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. So today I thought I would talk a little bit about the BRICS nations, guys, the Ripple and XRP connection, and how how it seems pretty much every single year we are seeing more and more connections to these BRICS nations, and not only that, we're also seeing more BRICS applications. So many more countries want to join the BRICS nations, and so the BRICS they do put them through a process, but they have accepted some new member states. So not only are there Ripple connections with the original BRICS nations, guys, we're starting to see this RippleNet connection grow even further, and I've done videos over the years demonstrating that. So I thought I'd do a bit of a deep dive into this, discussing some of these BRICS partnerships with Ripple and XRP, and how these partnerships, how this new emerging economy could be huge moving forward, rivaling the West. What proposals will Russia push at the BRICS summit? So guys, this is going to be happening this coming week. Russian President Vladimir Putin will host a summit of BRICS leaders next week, seeking support in his standoff with the West from the expanded group that now represents about a third of the global economic output. So just to start this off, okay, a third of global economic output, that is over 33% roughly of the entire GDP of the world. Russia says the event will be attended by leaders from Brazil, India, China, South Africa, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the UAE, and Saudi Arabia, which has been invited to join, and they are represented by their foreign minister. Here are some of the proposals Moscow will put forward. So just to reiterate, original BRICS members, Brazil, India, China, Russia, of course, South Africa, but then new members include Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the UAE. And Saudi Arabia, I don't know if they have officially been accepted yet, but they are on the short list. Of course, there's this concept of removing the need to exchange local currencies through the US dollar. So guys, that is a big pain point for these BRICS nations. And this is in large part why I'm covering this, because what are they going to turn to? What is the alternative? DLT technology, XRP as that bridge currency, and so many other things, so many other moving parts are involved in this. The system would be immune to external pressure and will use blockchain technology to store and transfer digital tokens backed by national currencies to make it more secure and reduce transaction costs. The aim is to keep trade flows between member countries running smoothly, even if one or more members are denied access to the international financial system. So that, China, Iran, Russia, we're looking in your direction. BRICS clear, an international settlement and depository infrastructure that Russia says would enhance cross-border trade in national securities. The idea is to allow all members to retain full access to BRICS financial markets, even if they are cut off from Western financial infrastructure. So it's almost like this silent war, us against them. This idea that, we as the BRICS nations, we are going to work together. We're going to band together, support each other, and we are going to keep our infrastructure steady, stable, and liquid. Just wanted to bring you guys a quick chart here, okay? GDP, the BRICS countries versus the G7 countries. And if you just look up here, you guys can see from 2021, you can see that number is growing steadily from the BRICS nations. G7 represented about 30.8% in 2021, whereas BRICS represented 34.08%. And over the last 4 years, guys, that has steadily increased to 35.43%. And guys, we're seeing the GDP of G7 nations steadily going down now as of 2024 at 29.64%. So that's just another statistic that I wanted to show you guys. I happen to see this from Black Swan Capitalist Verson. Turns out XRP is bridging the BRICS nations project mBridge. So we've talked a little bit about this in the past with Ripple's interoperable protocol. Since XRP has no political bias, it levels the playing field for all economies to participate, positioning itself as the next global reserve digital currency, a true store of value. And this is a document in Russian, but as you guys can see here at the center of this DLT, you can see that. I can't read the rest of this, but it does say DLT. And you can see there's an X right there in the center of that. You're going to be moving US dollars or Canadian dollars or Australian dollars or what have you, euros, yen, all these different types of currencies. It could be Bitcoin even. The point is XRP is going to be bridging all these currencies. And it is the BRICS nations that are going to benefit from this. So let's take them one by one. BRICS. The B stands for Brazil. 4 years ago, I did a video discussing Ripple and Brazil, guys. I did this on June 6, 2020. There were some quiet meetings back then. I'm going to play you guys this clip, and then we're going to talk a little bit about it. Listen to this. Guys, Michael on Twitter at Val5Links posted this. He sent me this. And this from Wrath of Kahneman originally, at W Kahneman on Twitter. What did Ripple and Brazil talk about in that meeting? He goes on to say, I think there's a good chance it was this. In a February editorial by Ripple's Luiz Antonio Sacco, he encourages the Central Bank of Brazil to advance financial inclusion with instant payments over mobile networks. So could this have been what they were talking about? Guys, I've linked this in the description. It is in Portuguese, is what I'm assuming. And so I couldn't translate it because it is a PDF document. It wasn't registering within Google Translate. But a few people down here have chimed in. So Wrath of Kahneman goes on to say, there is a particular emphasis on easy microcredit here for micro-entrepreneur individuals, in quotes. Also mentioned are a couple of familiar Ripple reference points, an Accenture study and a survey from Stanford, where board member Athey is, if you guys know Susan Athey, a Ripple connection there, and now a board member of Stanford. He goes on to say the low-end possibilities, consulting Ripple for input about inclusive banking and financial access, the high-end getting input on a robust national real-time payment system. Nothing matters, though, until production contracts are signed, but they clearly have Brazil's attention. And so here are the talking points. We know a couple of days ago, Brad Garlinghouse did have a meeting with the Central Bank of Brazil, but the details were sketchy at best, and now Wrath of Kahneman connecting the dots, putting it all together. XRP Buddha responds, do you remember Brazil's central bank was on the stage panel at Swell, Central Banks Show and Tell? So very, very interesting and very astute observations. I got to thank Wrath of Kahneman for posting this, giving his opinion on this. Also, Michael at Val5Links on Twitter for bringing this to my attention. So since then, we did find new information about this Ripple Brazil connection. In 2022, Ripple did launch a crypto-enabled enterprise payments system in Brazil with the Travelex Bank. So I'm sure you guys remember that. Ripple, the leading provider of enterprise blockchain and cryptocurrency solutions, today announced the launch of RippleNet's on-demand liquidity in Brazil with Travelex Bank, the first in Latin America to utilize on-demand liquidity. And so they couldn't have gone this far, of course, without the blessing of, the banking sector in Brazil. By utilizing XRP, a digital asset ideal for payments, Ripple's ODL solution allows customers to send money across borders, as we know. And down here it says Brazil is a key market for Ripple, given its importance as an anchor to business in Latin America, its openness to crypto and countrywide initiatives that promote fintech innovation. So this is just one bank, okay, the Travelex Bank. But guys, I also happen to notice this. Ripple and the Brazilian Central Bank Server Association cooperate to promote blockchain fintech innovation, and that was just from July of this year. According to BlockBeats, on August the 1st, Ripple announced a partnership with the National Federation of Central Bank Server Association of Brazil to promote blockchain fintech innovation in Brazil through the Next Accelerator program. So Ripple is working very closely with Brazil. I was trying to look for that article where they were discussing the central bank connection, but even just knowing that they did have secret meetings, that Ripple did have a secret meeting with the central bankers of Brazil, I think does speak volumes. Now, since then, a few years on, we are seeing more and more innovation in Brazil when it comes to RippleNet adoption. Now let's move to the R, guys. Russia is the next country, and there has been so much speculation recently, but it has been going on for about 2 or 3 years now that Russia, it has been confirmed Russia has been using XRP in trials as far back as 2018. Oh, look at that, 589 likes. This video was from 4 months ago, June 14th, 2024. I just wanted to play you guys a little clip of this. Watch this. I mean, there have been murmurings that the BRICS nations are in fact, or will in fact, use a bridge currency, the world's global bridge currency. But guys, they're also doing this, courtesy of Ito Farina. He was reading their white paper and that they are creating a currency called UNIT, which is going to be backed 40% by gold and 60% by BRICS member country fiat currencies. It cannot be weaponized and it is inflation proof, I guess, because of the gold component here. All items in the unit reserve basket must be freely tradable in gold terms for spot delivery at one of the unit nodes. If the condition of the free price discovery in gold terms is not satisfied, the currency cannot be deemed suitable for the unit reserve basket. The gold content of the unit reserve basket as a share of the total value in gold terms, which is required for emission of a new unit token, equals 40%. The value of any non-gold component of the unit reserve basket delivered for minting of a new unit token must not exceed 30% of the total measured in gold terms. The exact composition of the unit reserve basket at any time is public knowledge and is broadcast by all unit nodes. So that is, a new way to look at currency. Very transparent, as the BRICS members, I'm sure, realize that it's going to be beneficial for all of them to have a transparent option to trade in. And so now I guess we're going back to this concept of a global reserve currency, at least for the BRICS nations. And David Schwartz was even saying, you know, we might not actually just have one global reserve currency. We might have two or three, the US dollar still being the global reserve technically, but also now we have a unit token. And I guess we'll see how this all plays out. Maybe more countries will want to trade in the unit token just based on the transparency here and the fact that you just can't print more of them out of the blue. So an interesting update here from Ito Farina. Wanted to thank him for posting that. And Megan here on Twitter also commenting on the BRICS launch of their own settlement currency to replace the dollar. But guys, notice what was noted here in this Russian document. So this is a document here from the BRICS, from one of their presentations. Obviously, this document is in Russian. Luckily for us, Megan is part of the XRP community and can translate that for us. So the translation is up here. The BRICS Advisory Council says the project presentation, so far, it is only a concept, but a range of potential technology partners in Russia and other countries have already been identified. An active dialogue is underway with regulators in various countries. UNIT has a fractal structure with access points united by a blockchain platform. The platform software is being developed so that any authorized node can issue UNIT or UNT payment units. They will be able to be used as a means of settlement, for example, when negotiating the price of a product, to be used in keeping a record of counter obligations, as well as to service the transactions themselves. It is assumed that one unit will be measured in gold equivalent pegged to 1 gram of gold, but its basket will consist of several components. So 0.4 grams of physical gold, the rest half in each of the other two currencies of the BRICS countries. UNIT is not a cryptocurrency because, unlike it, its value is tied to real assets. So that is an interesting observation. But guys, the icing on the cake, Megan here points out that Ripple was mentioned in this document too. Here they say Ripple, if you guys can see as part of the system, that likely will transact in unit tokens. They also mention Enbridge and Polaris along with Tether. So it's not just going to be one cryptocurrency that rules them all, but this is looking to be launched. It looks as though sometime in 2025 and 2026, approved by the board of directors of the Bank of Russia. So it still needs some time to go through. Slick here saying BRICS ain't playing around. They're coming for the dollar's crown with their shiny new gold-backed currency. We always assumed that it would be backed by gold, and there were always inclinations that the BRICS nations were going to use RippleNet and XRP specifically to transact because as new members join, it's just going to get more difficult to do this without DLT technology. So I'm happy to see that Ripple has been listed in this Russian document. So unit backed by gold. There's been lots more discussion about this recently. The gold-backed token, I think, makes a lot of sense, considering the whole world, can get on board with what the value of gold is. There's no printing, it is just a physical precious metal that does exist, and we all give it a value. And guys, the same is going to be true for cryptocurrencies. This is why Russia likely did decide to trial XRP back in 2018. This was a video I did from a couple of years ago, February 2022. Listen to this. So just back to this real quickly. Right down here, there was a post from XRP Juice here on Twitter. Just posting the screen grabs from what I was talking about earlier. Foreign and Russian experience of blockchain digitization by central banks, financial and technology companies. Right here in this document, it does state, in the first half of 2018, the Bank of Russia's Novosibirsk Bank Innovative Laboratory conducted research on testing the possibility of cross-border settlement using the Ripple platform. The system technology assumed that the settlement participants had special accounts open in national payment systems and addresses in the Ripple network. Now, with regards to these sanctions, Russia has been dabbling in alternatives like SWIFT. And so, in this report, they've said other countries, other economies would have to have a Ripple account set up. Sure enough, what has happened over 2021 and 2020 and even now into 2022, those secondary, tertiary partnerships that we're seeing with these Ripple-enabled companies expanding the network, not to mention central banks around the world, they are all using RippleNet. And so the fact is anybody can transfer anything of value over the XRP ledger. You just have to be able to do so. And so Russia has been doing this based on the results. It was concluded that the Ripple platform can be considered as the basis for starting work on creating a system of cross-border settlements, provided that the following organizational, legal, and technical issues are resolved. And so they give some examples of those. I will leave this tweet thread in the description of the video. Very interesting information in here, to say the least. So could RippleNet actually play a part in circumventing some of these sanctions? And I think the answer to that is a resounding yes. Now, guys, let's get to the I. India India has been a great partner for Ripple. Here's a video I did just from last summer, August 2023. Listen to this. And boom, more massive news here, guys. This one from Cyprus Demanincore here on Twitter. The current population of India is 1.4 billion. Okay, these are recent numbers. He brought up two documents here that I wanted to go over. The path forward for digital asset adoption in India. I don't know if you guys remember back in 2018 when Ashish Birla stated, even then in 2018, that Ripple had 50% of India. Okay, this is not new news. Again, from 5 years ago, Ripple claims its 50% share in India is inroad to the global market. Ashish Birla did comment on this in a speech back in 2018. And so it says it here. He spoke on a panel at the Wharton School of Business about how Ripple went about gaining a majority market share in order to plant its roots in the world economy. And so, just going back to what Cyprus Demanincore here says, the population 1.4 billion. Ripple is mentioned not only in this 2020 document, but also in a 2023 document. So this is a policy perspective on the state of play of digital assets globally and recommendations for Indian policymakers. If we scroll down here, let me just get to where I want to be here. Okay, down here it says, all this friction and deadweight cost has negative implications on financial inclusion and financial deepening goals in receive markets like India. Now consider XRP a native digital asset that is embedded on the XRP ledger. It can solve this friction by enabling this particular bank, okay, Uzbek Bank, to straight through process funds to its Indian counterparts using XRP as that bridge asset. It is a designer and a bearer asset token, and thus the ownership to it can be transferred by moving an equivalent number of XRP. So we all know how this works. Again, this is just kind of highlighting the process. They talk about settlement and how it's quicker, right? Banknotes and tokens issued directly by the central bank can be settled by physically transferring possession. XRP operates like a banknote on the XRP ledger. As well as we highlight below, Ripple has productized this concept by introducing a feature called on-demand liquidity within RippleNet. So this was when on-demand liquidity, or ODL, was fairly new. Back in 2018, when Ashish Birla made this comment, we were still running on XRapid and XCurrent. So just different names for that product, and eventually they amalgamated it into one. Now, fast forward to this June 2023 document, so 3 years after this was initially released. And down here, guys, if we can get down to where it was mentioned here, I believe it was page 17. Let's just get down here. Right, it was right down here, the conclusion. DLT as a catalyst, not a wrecking ball. Okay, so talking about blockchains and how they were invented as a technology for trustless value exchange, and hence they are usually demanded in cross-border payments when confidence building prior to actual trade is complicated or impractical. This means above all new products, the new markets and immature or comprised institutions. Therefore, it should not be a surprise if remittance solutions on permissionless blockchains remain a much sought-after alternative in jurisdictions where pressure on institutional quality improvements has not so far borne the desired fruit. Characteristic of this state of affairs, guys, Ripple is already a household name on the Indian subcontinent. Well, if 5 years ago they had 50%, you can only imagine how much they have today. So they're saying in India, Ripple is already a household name while still being a fairly unknown entity outside expert circles in the West. Boy, doesn't that show you how different much of the rest of the world is to the Western world, okay? I mean, even though we do have, XRP clarity in countries like Canada or the UK, we still aren't seeing that same utility as they do in India, to the point where Ripple is a household name. Think of saying, Googling something. I'm sure that it is something similar over there. Now, let me also remind you guys, this is not even an Indian report. This is a Czech National Bank report. So it has nothing to do with India, but using India as that example, a glowing example of how XRP is being utilized in a country with 1.4 billion people. And that is huge. That has been one of Ripple's biggest partnerships. But guys, it's not over yet. Let's keep going. The C is China, and I gotta say, China has been the most mysterious partnership. Although I do remember this video I did about a year ago, September 2023. There was something that we did notice, a Ripple gateway. Listen to this. Did you guys see this? Utility FTW here posted this, Ripple China. Now, this was from 2013, a very, very long time ago. Old info that's new to me, he says, and new to me as well. Ripple China is the Ripple gateway that was established in 2013 in China. The current status of this service is uncertain. So this question now arises. We've heard of all these Ripple partnerships, these trial runs from these countries in the past, and some of them pan out and some of them do not. I haven't, to be honest with you, 2013 is the earliest I've heard of a Ripple partnership. Remember, they became the official Ripple company in 2012. And so 2013 seems to be a bit soon for this adoption. However, this is what this document is saying here. Ripple China was set to facilitate trading pairs XRP to CNY, which is the Chinese yuan, okay? Ripple China review, 4 out of 5 stars, fine. The Ripple logo is there, so we know it is the same Ripple company. In May of 2020, financial journalist Ginny Butterworth, which sounds like a pseudonym, posted this. Ripple China is the Ripple gateway that was established in 2013 in China. The current status of this service is unknown. The company's notifications are not found on the website. Ripple China was set to facilitate trading XRP to CNY pairs. Local payment methods were offered to deposit and withdraw the platform. The company's website is still live. So that is very, very interesting. I mean, I don't know if this is, I don't know if there's more information on this. Utility did bring this up. Ripple China Exchange Review 2020, so a little more recent. Still 3 years ago now, but definitely more recent than 2013. Okay, so this is just some more from CryptoGeek.info here. That same page, nothing more here. Okay, November 2021, a cheap and fast exchange, but only one pair is available for trading, which is logical. Normal exchange, I can't say anything bad about it. So, I mean, this is coming from Rocky Hess, 4 out of 5 stars. The only review here, which was done in 2021. So could this have been active as recently as 2021? Which is only 2 years ago, guys. It does make me wonder. China, obviously a very secretive country in terms of what they decide to do financially. Could they have been running on RippleNet this whole time, or at least testing it out, maybe having it on standby as a transfer mechanism? As you guys can see here, they were facilitating pairs for XRP and the CNY. So, I mean, it's unfortunate we don't have more information on this. Nevertheless, I thought I'd bring this to you guys just to add on to our suspicions regarding China leveraging the XRPL to send transfers using XRP for liquidity. Okay, so we have that China news. I mean, we also didn't know. We found out back in 2018 that Ripple did penetrate China with Xcurrent, collaborating with Amex and Lian Group. So Lian has been a confirmed Ripple partner now for a while. They were contributing to Lian's joint venture with American Express. China approved the operation of Amex, making it the first American company to be given direct access to China's e-commerce market. So guys, there's maybe a little clue there. Also, I just wanted to bring this to your attention as well. RippleNet's 2C2P teams up with Alipay parent company to improve digital payments in Asia. So RippleNet is connected to Alipay, another prominent Chinese company. And then finally, guys, we have the S, that is South Africa. Now, I haven't done any videos on any kind of Ripple connections to any kind of governmental high-level South African banks or groups. What I do know is this, though, and this was a big partnership when it was announced back a couple of years ago. South African fintech On Afrique, which was formerly called MFS Africa, is now to leverage Ripple blockchain across Africa via 3 fintech partners. So this was a huge partnership when it was announced. Ripple has established plans to facilitate new payment channels between 27 African countries and regions like Australia, the United Kingdom, and the Gulf Cooperation Council. This initiative is part of a partnership agreement with On Afrique, an African mobile payments provider. And yeah, for those of you guys who do not know, On Afrique was founded in Johannesburg, South Africa. I think one of the largest partner companies over there in Africa for Ripple. So that sums up the original members, guys. I also just wanted to bring you this. If we scroll down to the Wikipedia page for BRICS, where is it? You can see down here, the member states. Okay, so we got the major member states, and I just wanted to get this correct because I wasn't entirely sure who was a full-fledged member yet. Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the UAE. So we know Egypt has a history with Ripple. Egypt's largest bank joins Ripple network for cross-border payments. That was back in 2021, and that was their largest bank. Fast forward to 2024, just in February, Egypt-based Commercial International Bank did partner with Ripple to implement blockchain technology aiming to enhance the efficiency of cross-border payments. And Egypt is now a confirmed Ripple partner. And so I did some more research, guys. I couldn't really find anything for Ethiopia, nor could I find anything for the controversial state nation of Iran. But of course, the United Arab Emirates, Dubai. Ripple already does have a head office in Dubai, and even if you just Google Ripple and Dubai licenses Ripple to launch cross-border payment services. The UAE regulatory approval bolsters Ripple's quest to rival SWIFT. They got the in-principle license, the VAR license. Why is Ripple so bullish on Dubai? So we know in the Middle East, Ripple does have a very, very good relationship with, well, the UAE. Dubai in particular, they did hold swell in Dubai, I believe, in 2020. Was it 2022? Or was it last year, 2023? Nevertheless, guys, the partnerships are continuing to grow. I guess eventually we might see some partnerships in Ethiopia and Japan for RippleNet. And then there's the countries that still do want to join the BRICS nations. What is BRICS? Which countries want to join and why? I will link this in the description of the video for you guys. Not going to go over the full thing, but just some other member nations that are looking to join. Again, Iran is currently a member, so is the United Arab Emirates. But Saudi Arabia, that's been another one on the radar, and I do think they're very, very close to accepting Saudi Arabia. Then there's Argentina, Algeria, Bolivia, Indonesia. Egypt is already a member, along with Ethiopia. Cuba, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Comoros, Gabon, and Kazakhstan, okay? Those are the next on the list. It does really get me excited, guys. We do know we're going to see more XRP penetration through the BRICS nations. And even back a few years ago, Ben Swan did hint that the BRICS nations are using XRP. I did this video back in February of 2022. Listen to this.
Well, it's interesting. This was from back in 2019 from @XRPHODL_ here on Twitter. And this guy's name is Ben Swan, yes? Like a Black Swan event, Ben Swan wearing a black jacket in this interview from back in 2019. He talks about the BRICS nations setting up a payment network, cutting out the West before the beer flu pandemic occurred. This has been in the works for a while, so I thought I would bring this up. And for those of you guys who do not know, those BRICS countries, that would be Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Listen to what he has to say.
Step two is what's being discussed now, which is the payment processing system. So really what they're competing with is the SWIFT bank system, right? So right now, if you're sending money overseas from a U.S. bank, you have to use, or any Western country, you use that SWIFT system that is set up in Belgium. And that prevents money laundering in theory and all that kind of thing. But what the BRICS nations are doing is saying, well, we don't need to use the SWIFT system because we don't want to be subjected again to U.S. sanctions, because if the U.S. is sanctioning you, you can't move money using that SWIFT system. So what's really interesting is, number one, they're creating a payment system that would go around SWIFT. But how do you do that when you have 5 major countries that all have their own currencies? And one of the ways they're doing that is by using possibly cryptocurrency to do that. That would translate their currencies into a single cryptocurrency that is then used through the system and then formulated, I guess, when it gets into their country back into their own personal currency. So essentially you're taking currency from one, sending it through as a cryptocurrency, and then back on the other end into transforming it into another currency. And that allows them, again, to get around this SWIFT system in a way that no one had really thought about in the past, because crypto already has all of those things in place.
That sounds a heck of a lot like XRP to me, guys, but that's just my opinion, and I hope you guys enjoyed this deep dive into the BRICS nations. I really can't wait to see what Ripple and XRP have to offer to new BRICS nation states as they continue accepting members. That's just my opinion, though, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.